lot has been happening with Australian migration, and the good thing about it is that they are opening their border for professional skilled migrants to come to Australia to live and work. And the states and territory in Australia are not just keeping quiet, they are giving out sponsorship if you meet the eligibility for that particular state. And today's video, I'm going to be talking about Victoria, which is Melbourne. Melbourne is the capital city of Victoria. So if you've heard about Melbourne, then you would know Victoria. They have opened up for their state nomination for 2023-2024, and they are giving out 190 visa subclass and 491 visa subclass for skilled workers that meet the criteria and the eligibility. One thing I like about this is that it gives the opportunity for someone living in Australia and someone living outside Australia to apply for this visa. So if this is the kind of content you want to watch, kindly subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell so anytime I post any video, you'll be the first to be notified. And please guys, don't forget to share and like my video. And if you're coming across my channel, my name is Uche, I live in Melbourne, Australia. And here I talk about tips on how you can move to Australia and every other thing in between. So let us go ahead and talk about Victoria State. Welcome back guys, like I mentioned, Victoria has opened for state nomination for 190 subclass visa or 491 subclass visa. If you don't know about this visa or you're coming across my channel, I'll just give you a brief info about these two visas. I'm also going to be leaving videos that I've done about these two visas in my description box, so you can go and check them out, okay? So 190 visa is a state sponsorship visa whereby a state will be the one to sponsor you and you have to live in that state for 2 years before you can move to another state. And this 190 visa is a permanent residency visa. It means that when you are granted this visa, whether you are in Australia or outside Australia, you become a permanent resident of Australia with this 190 visa. And if you're running short of points as well, this state that will sponsor you will also give you additional 5 points for you to be able to meet the 65 points that is the criteria for Department of Home Affairs. And 491 visa is a temporal regional visa. It's a 5 years live and work visa. It is not a permanent residency visa. But once you're living in that particular region for 3 years, and you meet the criteria, you would be eligible to apply for your permanent residence after 3 years, which will convert your visa from 491 to 191 visa. So this is what these two visa is all about. One will give you automatic permanent residence. The other one, you have to live in that place for 3 years and meet the requirements for you to be eligible to actually apply for your PR, okay? So I have explained it in a way that you can understand. So these visas that I have mentioned here, Victoria is open for it. And like I mentioned, there are some criteria that you need to meet. Number one is you have to be under 45 years for you to apply for either of these two visas. Number two, you have to meet the point test, which is minimum of 65 points. Another criteria that you need to meet is having a positive skill assessment from your occupation. I cannot stop talking about this skill assessment. If you really want to move to Australia, whether you're coming through employer's visa or you're coming through skilled migration pathway, you really need to do your assessment. Final eligibility for you to meet to be able to apply for any of this is that you need to meet the English language requirement, which is competence in English. Occupations might ask you to have higher bands. It's like if you're going for a social work or if you're coming as a nurse, competence in English will not be enough for you. So depending on your occupation, that would determine what you would have in your English language test. I always tell people to try to get a proficiency instead of trying to get just competency, because it will also help you doing your expression of interest. Another key point that I want to put out before we go to Victoria website to read all that I have mentioned here is it is good to also check the states that you are going for, because different states have different requirements. Apart from you meeting the Department of Home Affairs requirement, which is what I have mentioned here, you also need to meet the state sponsorship requirements. They are two different things. What works for Queensland or NSW will not work for Victoria. And the occupation that you might see in Victoria might not be in NSW or Tasmania. So it's good when you're meeting the eligibility for the Department of Home Affairs, you also check out the state that you're seeking for sponsorship. So right now, let us go to Victoria website and read what this visa is all about. And I wish each and every one of you that are going to go through this process best of luck. I'm rooting for you, and start gathering your documents to do your assessment ASAP. As you can see, guys, the 2023-2024 Skilled Migration Program for Victoria, which is Melbourne, it's now open, and this is their website. So for the 190, you guys already know, like I mentioned, is a permanent visa for skilled migrant. You must receive a nomination from Victoria before you can apply for visa. So here they are telling you to check the Department of Home Affairs to be sure that you are eligible for 190 visa. If not, you can also go and check out the 491 visa. If you are in Australia, you must be living in Victoria at the time of your nomination. So here is the supporting information. Who can apply for this visa? So let us go ahead and check it out. To be eligible to apply for Victoria Skilled Nomination, which is the 190 visa subclass, you would have done your registration of interest, which is the ROI. You should be under 45 years of age, at least have competence in English, have a valid skill assessment in an occupation that is eligible for skilled occupation list. So all this link here, you can click them to read more about it. Melbourne doesn't have their specific skilled occupation list. However, they are using the one from the Department of Home Affairs, and you must achieve at least 65 points. There was no place they mentioned that you should have a job in Australia for you to apply for it. So how to apply? These are the step-by-step process how you can apply for this if you have met the first step. Submit your expression of interest through the Department of Home Affairs. For you to do that, you would have gotten a positive assessment, have your English done for you to do this part. Number 2, using your expression of interest number from Skill Select to submit your registration of interest, which is ROI for Victoria nomination. Step 3, if you are invited, you submit your nomination application in this same portal. If your nomination application is successful, you will submit a visa application. So this is the step-by-step on how you can apply for people that will ask me the question, okay? What you need to apply for this 190 visa subclass is your passport, your English language test, and your skill assessment. If you indicated in your registration of interest that you are working in Victoria, that's for people living in Australia already, working in Victoria, then you need to show your employment contract, you need to show your pay slip, your superannuation, and your position of description. So once you are nominated, they will notify you through email. You will submit your visa application through the Home Affairs within 60 days. You will keep your contact details up to date. You will commit to living and working in Victoria for at least 2 years. These are all for 190 visa subclass. We'll go ahead and talk about 491 and what are the changes that they did. So same website, this is for 491 visa sponsorship. The Skill Regional Visa subclass allows skilled migrants to live and work in designated regional area for a period of 5 years with a pathway to permanent residence. You must receive a nomination from Victoria before you can apply for this visa. So if you want to know more about it, check the Department of Home Affairs. So let us see supporting information for this 491 visa. So after 3 years, subclass 491 holders may be eligible to apply for subclass 191 visa, which provides you with a permanent residence. So who can apply for this visa? To be eligible, you have to be committed to living in original Victoria, have your registration of interest, that's ROI, selected, be under 45 years, have a skill assessment in occupation on the eligible skill occupation list. If you are onshore, that's if you are in Australia, you must be living and working in original Victoria at the time of nomination. But if you're offshore, it does not matter. How to apply for 491 visa is basically the same step with the 190, so I don't want to go so much about this. You can check out the link. I'm going to leave it in my description box. So if you want to know more on this application for onshore, you can click on this, but I'm focusing more on the offshore applicant. For offshore applicants, that's people from outside Australia, you must be committed in living in regional Victoria. So if you click this link, you will read more on that. You will need to have a skilled assessment. I cannot stop talking about you having a skill assessment. It helps you to have a better chances of migrating to Australia. And they also mentioned that they are currently prioritizing offshore candidates for 491 visa with skills in healthcare, social service, and education. So if you know your occupation is under this, my dear, please go and start your assessment immediately. Once you are nominated, they will notify you the same way they did for 190. So this is it, guys. This is all about Victoria's Skilled nomination that is open for 2023-2024. I hope you guys enjoy watching this video. If you do, please share to your friends and family. Start your immigration journey today, because you never know, you'll be one of the lucky people that will be in Victoria this year. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video.